Cutting edge guests, awesome, uncensored, jaw-dropping information, plus funny memes, good deeds, and loads of laughter. Kind of have it all. Ladies and gentlemen, if your soul's awake, then welcome, because you're in the right place.
What if the keys to creation lie in the stars and our forgotten past? A journey across the cosmos to unlock the memories of past lives remembered, forging the destiny of tomorrow.
And those past lives remembered are being brought back now. Everybody, I'm delighted to welcome back to the Sovereign Soul Show for this Keys of Creation monthly series. The legend, the man who has been a myth at times with his incredible past lives and lifetime in the Super Soldier program, Michael Jaco. Welcome back, Michael.
Thanks for having me back, Brad. I haven't talked about past lives in a while, so this is going to be really good. But I feel it really, kind of leads to the Super Soldier program. I think they picked. I talked to other super soldiers that have past life memories as well, and pretty significant past lifetimes. And I think they know when these souls reincarnate, and they kind of target them to come into the super space program.
Wow, that's wild. It was your book, Awakening of a Warrior, the new cover, beautiful up here with Archangel Michael just taking out the demon right there on the cover. That's where everybody can find it, by the way. If you want to go to cccpublishing.com, and good old Brad Wozny, who's been here as well and a friend of yours, is publishing that. So we have a lot to unpack here. If everybody's new in the audience, first and foremost, Michael, Navy SEAL, SEAL Team 6, DevGru, CIA, Special Operations. If you have not followed his channel or the many shows we've done here, found Osama bin Laden using remote viewing. His old Red Squadron in SEAL Team 6 went in and got him, as we all know that story, which is really powerful. And with this series, as you can all see on the thumbnail, everybody, if you're watching the broadcast, we're going to kind of talk about the stellar travel, the super soldiers, and past lives remembered. And I find that's a really key play to past lives being something where you could get selected for the Super Soldier program. First and foremost, thank you for your service, Michael. Thank you for everything.
Thank you, Brad, and thank you for your service as well. But this is revelatory times, and people are awakening. I think the stuff that we're awakening to is going to be phenomenal for a lot of people. I've been putting this stuff out as far as like past lives for a long time. I believe pretty much everyone here, unless they came straight from the cosmos, and there are star children that are coming here to help us ascend at this time. But for most of us, I would say 98% of us or more, we are basically awakened. We have past lives, and awakening to those past lives will help inform you of more about who you are, and that's what really happened with me when I started to delve into them.
It's amazing to me as well, because we started this series, if everybody knows, primarily because what we've seen with the technology that David Schmidt's unleashed in LifeWave, whether it's X39 right here, which because it's a general wellness patch, we have to be very, very compliant with what we say. And obviously everybody knows that X39 with Celergize AM won the 2025 Biotech Breakthrough Award for the stem cell innovation. So he had about 15,000 submissions from big pharma to biotechs, and this little thing came out, and it's biophotonic therapy. And just like Einstein said, let frequency will be the medicine of the future, right? Thin as a few hairs, rather, I'll turn over, thin as a few hairs, size of a quarter, slap it on, does incredible things. And we'll talk about it a little bit later. Links are below the description, because Michael and I are in agreement that what we see here with LifeWave and the founder, David Schmidt, and his inspiration from Star Trek is kind of pulling us together as the Type 1 civilization I believe we're returning to. And I think Michael believes the same as well. And I think David is more or less like a modern day Tesla. And speaking of past lives, perhaps he's the reincarnated version of Nikola Tesla with roughly 200 patents. So from past lives remembered, Michael, probably not a popular topic. Were you still in the SEAL teams or at Dev Group when those popped up? You want to give everybody a little bit of a background, maybe, as well to yourself if they're brand new here to the show.
Yeah, I was actually at SEAL Team 6 when I really started to dive into it. And that's, Edgar Casey has an institute in Virginia Beach where SEAL Team 6, where I was at the time frame. So I was, always researching. I looked into past lives. I thought that, yeah, I probably had a past life or two here and there. I didn't really go too much into it other than that. I felt real strong connection to Jesus Christ, and ever since I was a little kid, so I felt I knew him on a certain level. So I thought maybe I was with him at one point. So I started going to Edgar Casey Institute. I did research there. I did research for them on past lives because Edgar Casey did a lot of past life readings. And I was talking with one of the people that basically worked there and had been working there for a long time. He said, "You should go to this one woman that does past life readings." And I was like, "Really?" Uh, I saw her one time with Shirley MacLaine out on a limb where she had this one guy, Kevin Ryerson, who I would have dozens of past
Oh
life
yeah,
eventually. But
yeah.
yeah, this woman does past life readings, and I was like, oh wow. So I was getting ready to get out of the SEAL teams. In fact, at that time, so I contacted her, and she's like, well, I'm booked up for like 3 months, and I was going to be out of the Navy and gone. I was going up to New Jersey to start running my own courses at some point. So I was like, well, just put me down anyway. Maybe I'll come back or something. So I have like 1 or 2 days left, and she calls me back and she says, I just got a cancellation. Can you come? And I was like, yeah. So I went over and I did a reading with her, and she says, oh, you were with Jesus. And I was like, oh my God, and so the connection happened right away, and she told me about other lifetimes, and she told me about people that I was with at the time, my kids, and all kind of crazy stuff. How we'd had multiple lifetimes together, and it all resonated very, very deeply. I connected with it right away. She's really, really good. And I remember leaving there, and it's like, and then it started to really hit me that I had a lifetime with Jesus, and I had tears running down my face when I made the connection and everything. But yeah, it was one of the most amazing times. And then eventually, I would go on. I would do more research on my own, and then have other readings with other psychics. I went to another psychic just to kind of like balance that one. It's like, well, we'll see what this other psychic says, and maybe these psychics just tell you what you want to hear. And so I went to this other psychic, and she was telling me about stuff about myself as the other psychic did. That I was like, God, there's no way you could know, because you don't even know me, but you're telling me about myself and what I've been doing my whole life. And it's like, it was insane. So this other psychic did the same thing, and I was like, so I kind of like you do connections, and I was like, okay, this is real. And from that point on, I did a period of time, I think probably several years before I did another reading, and that was with Kevin Ryerson. And I was like, Kevin Ryerson actually does readings for people? I thought he just did it for the elite. And it's like, no, he was open. So I contacted him and did a reading, and lo and behold, he told me about past lives with all kinds of crazy people. I had a really strong connection with Sparta. He gave me like a list of Spartan lifetimes that I had. I founded Sparta, like I talk about in my book, The Awakening of a Warrior, as Lycurgus. And I looked at pictures of representations of Lycurgus, and I was like, that is me. So that's one of the things I started to see as well when I did research. If there was someone that was still living, or their paintings of them or something, I saw similarities. And I also saw similarities with, the way that person led their lives. And I would be like, that is just like me, and on and on and on. It was just an incredible time for me to awaken to that aspect of, deeper aspect of myself.
So I find truly remarkable about this, and maybe if anybody from an audience standpoint, just kind of wrapping your head about the potential of lost lives or past lives, rather, not lost life between lives is what I did in QHHD, not lost lives, but
They're kind of lost because you don't
I guess
remember
so.
them.
Yeah. Excellent point. Excellent point. Yeah, lost lives until they're remembered again.
Yeah.
Is Patton when Teddy Savalas played Patton in his autobiographical movie Hollywood 1960s came out. There's that famous scene when he's actually driving up to the front and he tells his driver, and this was in Patton's diary. So they actually took this right out of his diary and the notes from the field, and he said, "Go over here, go over here." And he stepped out of the Jeep and he looked at these ancient Roman ruins and he said, "I was here 2,000 years ago," and did his whole monologue, which is very powerful. And there's so many individuals who are relatively prominent, people would say, that it's almost like it's an undercurrent as to what the belief is in reincarnation. When you look at the 777 books of the Bible, like Bishop Jim has mentioned, actually in one of those books, it talks about reincarnation. It was removed in the 5th century. So in the 5th century, when you had the Constantine came in and they restructured everything and said, here's your legion, right, from the Roman Empire, and this is what you're going to believe. They removed it from that. But you can go to Tibet, you can go to Buddhism, Sanskrit, Hinduism, and we're not talking about religions here to promote them, but the fact is that it's acknowledged there as well as in the Bhagavad Gita and whatnot. So people can, you can tap into this and you can find ways. And I would encourage reading Awakening of a Warrior as we're talking about it here and go into that, because you might have, and I'll ask you, what you feel you've brought forward, Michael. Maybe some of it's like Sparta is incredible. What talents and skills and resources you feel you've brought forward into this lifetime from that. But let's go into some of those lifetimes as well in this.
Yeah, and you mentioned the role that George C. Scott played of Patton, and when I saw that, because I was
Scott, I'm sorry, I said Teddy Savalas. I apologize.
oh yeah, George, yeah.
Thank you.
So he basically did an excellent role, and I remember seeing that as kids because when I grew up, I was like all about military. I played with soldiers, and I was like, why am I in this poor family? I feel like I've been on castle walls before in the past, and it just random thoughts, would come through my head. And I found that I was kings and had built castles and all kind of great stuff in the past. So when I saw that movie about Patton, I was like, God, that is so inspiring. Now, Patton, like you said, he remembered his past lifetimes. He was Hercules in a past life. So I've done, research on a lot of these. So I've had many lives with Patton, and as friend and sometimes as foe, because that battle that he talked about, I was the Roman general that fought him and won. So we've had many lifetimes like that, and we sometimes work well together, and sometimes we butt heads. But Patton in this life is Donald Trump. So we're starting to see these patterns like we talk about, or I see these patterns, and other people see these patterns. Jesus, Buddha, they could look at someone and they could see their past life history, and they would connect with somebody very quickly. That's why both of them were very, people, were drawn to them very quickly, because they connected with people very quickly because they could see their past lives and they knew what they were about, whether they were good, whether they're bad, regardless, they could see deep into their past lives. So it took me quite some time actually to get to the point where I found the past life that I was during Jesus's time frame. And I think the reason why that happens is you have to develop yourself to a certain point where you can handle the information. So I was Claudius Lysias. He is written about in the Bible, I think 16 different times. And I had memories of being with him, meditating with him and healing with him and all kind of stuff. I was told that I was trying to heal with him one time. He and Mary were really, really good. And that they could heal just about anybody. They could bring people back from the dead. That's an incredible thing. Lifeway Patch, we haven't got to the point where bring people back from the dead, but we were pretty close to healing people and all kind of crazy stuff. But back then you would use your energy. You would tap into universal forces and direct it and so forth. So I was working on this little boy in this seaside town, Lake Tiberias, and basically I was having trouble, so I went and got Jesus. He came back and he healed him.
Wow.
And that little boy would be my son eventually, Michelangelo. So I adopted him in that life, and I had him in this life for a period of time. So it's pretty crazy, the connections that you're going to start to see, throughout time. And I had many lifetimes actually with Jesus, working with him, and other lifetimes, which makes sense when you start to look at your past lives. You're going to run with a certain group of people, throughout lifetimes, and it's over time you help each other out. Like maybe I'll come in and I'll be the dad one time, and then I'll be the son, and there's all kind of ways that we work and help each other. Another time maybe I push them as I don't know, the general, and sometimes they push me as a general. Yeah, Katie says soul family. So yeah, you have a soul family that you work with. Some of them you have a broad soul family, and then you have a very tight soul family. So because we're not directly related, or we haven't spent a lot of time together, I would say we're a broader soul family, Brad, that you and I, and we probably work together in multiple lifetimes. We could probably look deeper into that and see each other on battlefields, in the past. Like that's kind of what Patton, he wrote a very interesting poem about, these lives I've led, through a dark glass, through a glass darkly, I see, many lifetimes, and maybe I was there, having speared our Savior, who's talking about Jesus Christ, and he actually was the guy that did that.
Wow.
So now with Jesus, I tried to get him out because I was a tribune. I had a lot of power. I was there in Jerusalem. I had the guard, the Roman guard, and everything. I tried to save him, but the Jewish group at that time were very powerful, and he wanted to go forward because it was kind of like he was going to raise himself from the dead, and so he was given a potion. He went unconscious. We speared him, and there was liquid fluid that came from his side, and usually if there's any fluid that comes from the side, that means you're still alive, right? So because your body's still pumping, you're still doing, and we're like, I made a decision, yep, he's dead. So we took him down, we put him in put him in the tomb, and kind of the rest is history on that. But I helped many of the people that were with him during the time, because I'd work with them. There's a story in the Bible where I came and helped Paul of Tarsus, and helped him get out of, I guess he was down, pissing everybody off because he was saying, coming in with what would be Christianity. And of course, Jesus wasn't a Christian; he was Jewish. So a lot of people make that mistake. They're like, I'm Christian. I believe in Jesus. Well, Jesus was a Jew, and he believed in what the Jews believe in. But he did break free, and that's one of the reasons why they crucified him, because he was being a problem. He was going after their money changers and all that kind of stuff in the temple. Trying to do away with the sacrifice and so forth, because he thought it was abhorrent. But my memories of him is he was super funny guy, and he made everybody laugh, and we had a great time. Handsome guy. Mary Magdalene was his wife, and I think they did spawn a child, and I helped them basically put them on a boat, and because they were almost going to be killed, Joseph of Arimathea was his uncle. He was the richest man in the world at the time, and he had a fleet of boats all over. I was from a Greek family, and we were wealthy as well. I remember being in Athens and looking at the Parthenon when I was growing up and so forth. So I have all these different memories. And, once you make the connection, then it's like, boop, 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 they all start to come together. So he basically, helped them. There's a story of where a Roman tribune came and beat up Joseph of Arimathea. We had to make it look good. Took away their sails and pushed them out in a boat so that they would definitely die. But we understood the tides and the currents and everything, and that current took them over to France, where they still celebrate Mary Magdalene coming ashore and every year. So it's these stories, you make connections. Of course, they've been suppressed, and Jesus was vilified by the Romans and so forth, and it was like, oh, he was a criminal. Of course they crucified him. That's what we do to criminals. But we see him as a great being. He came back from the dead, of course, and that was the thing that he brought back. It wasn't the crucifixion. It was the resurrection where, he was trying to leave that impression. And I think he's done a really good job. Most people that really follow, the teachings of Jesus, and there are many teachings of Jesus, many, like you talked about Constantine, who I was, took a lot of that.
Kidding. Oh, man.
Yeah. So the reason why is because of reincarnation. Like we're talking about right now, there's a lot of people get triggered still to this day about reincarnation.
Yeah.
Imagine 2,000 plus years ago, there were people that would kill each other in Egypt and everything. There were like battling groups of this new religion, Christianity. The ones that believed in reincarnation were vilified, and they would have battles in the streets and all kind of crazy stuff. So to keep the peace, Constantine took it out. And it's like, you guys can figure it out on your own. We're just taking out the Bible, so you guys won't fight over it anymore. And that's the way that worked. It's crazy. But, the real story, as, you start to learn these things, there's like, that doesn't fit, that doesn't make sense. And then you have memories from those lifetimes, and you can make it right. And that's what I found with a lot of these memories. Very, very interesting.
There's stuff here that you have said that I've never heard before about your past life. So thank you for sharing. Holy frick. And definitely have a few questions regarding that. To extrapolate, from the Buddhist philosophy as well, their belief in and I'm not Buddhist, everybody, we have the Bling Buddha here. He's a mascot. And the whole point, if you've been here 4 years ago and started the show, was the representation of what man or woman, divine lion or lioness can reach, right? To achieve enlightenment during your earth walk, not from the spiritual standpoint, because then you have the heavenly realm as well, but, to work toward that and to have fun, right? It's the Bling Buddha. He's firing a SIG 226 in one hand and he's got a dove of peace on the other, right? So peace and power, pretty cool, with a gold chain and a silver token hanging from his neck. Happens to be XRP. So I digress. But the Buddhist philosophy and some of the research I've done into that is about the past life reincarnation is karmic cycles, so that it's almost like you have this somewhat of an infinity loop, but it's left open because you haven't closed off a learning lesson from then. So you come on back to another cycle to learn these life lessons and to better yourself. And many can look at this, and I do, that this is part of an ascension cycle for our souls, right? Our infinite sound of unlimited love. Always being, always is. We come from creation, from source, the great omnipresence of divinity. Is that your belief too, Michael, that we have karmic cycles where our soul comes back? And you kind of mentioned soul groups, right? You and I being part of a greater soul group, which Colonel Chuck Sellers has said several times on shows, like, you guys, we all came in together. And, I mean, he's battling demons in his bed, right? Like, incredible. And he's got aliens showing up in his room in Houston, Texas, in his family room, and talking about it. And this is the former, if anybody doesn't know, this is the former deputy commander of Delta Force, who's regarded as one of the greatest leaders in Delta Force of its time. He was trained by General Elgin Bardwell, who goes back to Mac VSOG, Vietnam legend, as well as Lieutenant Colonel Dick Thompson and Dick Meadows back at that time. We're talking about the greatest of the greatest of the greatest here, and discussing this openly. So you feel that this is a karmic loop in cycles where we're learning lessons, but we're also bringing those forward. Is that a fair assessment then for everybody here?
Yeah, you have different aspects of yourself that you'll work on, in lifetime after lifetime. For me, this one was like, because have been a general and a king and so forth. I'm used to getting my way, and I get pretty angry when I don't, or used to. So I've mellowed out quite a bit. And my connection, like you talk about with the Buddhist lifetimes, was the thing that helped me quite significantly. So I was with Buddha as well. I was Ananda, which was his personal assistant. He brought me in. I was from his family. We were cousins. So he came in, and Buddha was going to be a warrior king and unite all of India. Now, he told me that I was going to ascend, or I was going to be like 7 kings of India. So, of course, I became 7 kings of India, and did some amazing things, brought into peace, like we're talking about, and these lifetimes, once you start to see them, it's very, very humbling. Like a lot of people were like, "Oh, you were with Jesus, you were with the Buddha, you were like all these kings, and you really think highly of yourself." I'm like, those were very, very difficult lifetimes, right? So when you're at that level, that's the most difficult of a life to have, at the top general, at the king level, because everybody's trying to kill you and take away your power, your family, everybody. Great Buddha, he had family members that were constantly trying to kill him, and it was like that for a lot of us, that we're in these lifetimes that we're trying to make a major impact and difference. So that's one of the things you'll start to see possibly with your own lifetimes. Now, have I been, kings and queens, or not queens, but I've never, I look throughout my lifetimes. Most people will go back and forth and do male and female lifetimes. I don't have any female lifetimes throughout my entire time, and that's because I've been developing the male aspect of, because there's a lot of women that follow me. It's crazy, but I've developed my masculine and feminine side very, very carefully, and that's one of the reasons why I'm so effective as an intuitive and a remote viewer and remote influencer. In one lifetime in Egypt, I was able to actually send out energies that kept peace, and that's one of the things that I learned to do. The obelisks, are made with granite, which has piezoelectric capabilities. Your consciousness, when directed at that, which I was with a group, and we would direct our consciousness at that, and we would beam out from the obelisks the safety and peace and so forth. And during those times we did that, Egypt was peaceful. And I've done that in this life. I've talked about that, and I was talking about that before I even realized I had those capabilities in past lifetimes, but it came through. Now, once I made the connection that I was doing it in past lifetimes, what do you think happened in this lifetime? I became even more effective, because I was like, I've done this before, and I've done it on this level. Why not take it to another level again? Yeah. So you get through a lot of the conditioning that you'll have in your lifetimes, and you'll cut through them once you connect with a lifetime where you've done this before, and you've done it on a very advanced level. So that's a helpful thing about learning about your lifetimes. So I believe that anytime we can ascend, and it's a choice that we have, whether we're going to come back and work with our soul group, or whether we're going to work on some aspect of ourselves that we would like to work on. So there's different reasons why you would stay here, and they're all good. But I have memories of being on the other side and directing energy from the other side as well. And a lot of people talk about how they come into the other side of the dimensional realm, where we go. They call it heaven. It's kind of heavenish, but it's not like, clouds and harps and stuff like that with angels all around. It's more of a, depending on your level of advancement as a soul, you'll come into these realms, and you'll be with a group depending on your advancement level. And I go to the mountains, right? So I go to the mountains, and I'm all alone up there because, and similar to what I've done in this life, right out this window here is the Pacific Crest Trail. I spent months on that by myself. So I'm very used to going out and meditating and doing this type of stuff. And when I look at my past lifetimes, I'm like, of course, because they've done this in past lifetimes, and I've done it on an unbelievable level. Now, when I did it in this lifetime, I had a greater connection to Source, to God, and from that connection, I was able to do a lot more stuff. And that's what I do. The intuitive warrior, the all these things that I are promoting and helping people awaken within themselves. The past life information is part of that. But unfortunately, I'm glad we're doing the show. Unfortunately, it is not highly accepted. You would think that it's really highly accepted, like in India, where Buddha was from. And I've talked to people in India, and I told them about my past lifetimes, and they're like not so open to that. So it's pretty crazy. But there was one time where there was a Buddhist monk, very, very high level guy that came to Charleston, South Carolina. I was going to meet with him and bring my book, The Intuitive Warrior, which I'd just written. And unfortunately, I got called, like I would often do, last minute to go overseas and do my thing with the CIA. So Tracy went, and she told the people there at this place in Charleston, very, very advanced place where they did all these meditations, and they had beautiful books and incense and all that kind of stuff. So they're all into this. And they had this one, super high speed Buddhist monk that came to speak. And so I'd written in my book a nice message to him. And so they at the center, they didn't want to give it to him for whatever reason. They thought it would be insulting to him. I don't know what they thought, but so they hid it in a bookshelf. And my wife went and did a reading with him, and he said, "Oh, my husband, he wanted to meet with you," and he was very intrigued. He's very intrigued, and he was like, "So he wrote a book for me?" And she's like, "Yeah." And so I guess they couldn't find it, and because he hid it, and so Tracy left, and she heard from another person that worked there that she knew that they had hidden the book. And that he came down. He's like, "Where's this book this man left me?" And they're like, we don't know." So he went right to the bookshelf. He moved the books, and he found it. And he said, "Yeah, here it is." And I was like, wow, I bet I've had, some past lives with this guy. So, that's some of the things that you'll start to, these really, really interesting, things will start to happen once you make these past life connections. People will show up in your life that were part of those lifetimes, and on and on and on. So very, very intriguing to go into the past life discoveries.
It's really interesting. You mentioned that about him and what they did. It's almost like they're hiding your book and your message on purpose. That's what I get. And for what reason, who knows, right? But I've had an opportunity. Now we know about the Dalai Lama, but back then in the early 2000s, down in I think it was Scottsdale, Arizona, got to be in his presence, and then also have met two Rinpoches, and on Vancouver Island of all places.
Wow.
all within just a random. And literally, when you talk about feeling intuitive, gut feelings, people, gut instincts, especially women who are very much aware of those instincts, obviously because of who they are, the matriarch, and having the maternal instincts. I'm just driving down the road in Vancouver Island, and on my way somewhere, everybody knows the area, Goats on the Roof, Qualicum Beach. And I just had this distinct feeling like, just drive down this road, turn left, go down this kind of dirt road. Went down there, driving along, it's beautiful. And then I just see these like little prayer flags that everybody was familiar with Nepal. If they've watched any documentary or movie regarding Everest, you've got the Tibetan, the Buddhist prayer flags everywhere. I'm like, oh, that's pretty interesting. And I go in there and I'm like, what is this? Oh, there's a Buddhist temple on Vancouver Island, way off the beaten path. Oh, this is pretty cool. Walk in there, woman greets me. Hi, what is this place? There's a big Buddha statue, like 2 stories, all of this. I'm like, this is really cool. I'd like to just go in here and meditate. As I learned meditation, transcendental meditation, the Maharishi taught everybody, which everybody knows about the Maharishi effect, Washington, D.C. studies. And then sure enough, I'm there and she goes, well, this is a very special day. And there's 3 cars in the parking lot. And it's not even a real parking lot, right? It's beautiful woods, well kept. And she said, the Rinpoches are here. I'm like, what's a Rinpoche? Well, it's, right below, if Buddha was alive right now, these would be the next level. These would be his generals in a military standpoint, right? These would be the 4-star generals around him, the Rinpoche. And even if everybody needs to know, the Rinpoche is an honorific term used in the Tibetan language, literally means precious one. And that all is distinct regarding the past lives. And I'm like, what led me here? Even though I've done life between lives, as you're aware of, I've done QHHT sessions, which have been eye-opening. What led me here? And where we are right now, I kind of see this from a frequential basis. You mentioned channeling energy in group format in Egypt, which is an incredible story in your book, by the way. Everybody should get it. Talking about using rubies and gemstones and Kundalini, Kundalini and a level that activates all your energies and your chakras. If anybody knows Reiki, as a Reiki master, you want to have all your chakras aligned, all more than the 12, that the major ones, and then projecting that and having a harmonic effect for good, or and also could be negative, but for good on society. I just find that truly amazing. And you continue to share that here. And I think that's one of your roles too, obviously being a sharer, is to bring this to the masses, so everybody can have their awakening as well too in this ascension time frame. It's wild.
Yeah, absolutely. And so to give you an idea of how your past lives can influence your future lives, I was Cyrus the Great, so the unifier of the Persian Empire. So imagine Cyrus the Great, Persia, king of Persia. And I told so many stories about that. But later on, remember how Persia came, they were conquering the world, and they came down to, conquer Greece. So they're trying to get through the hot gates, and they got held up and all that kind of stuff. So I was Pausanias, who was the Spartan general who defeated them on the battlefield. And after, defeating them on the battlefield, you would think that he would be a great hero. He was at the time. But then, because he started adopting Persian customs, they thought he was trying to Persianize. So again, I had, connection with Persia from being Cyrus the Great. That was probably one of the reasons why I was able to defeat them, because I had that connection. So they had descended in consciousness, and they were trying to conquer the world and do, evil. So, the Greeks at that time were still on the up and up, but they basically, because they felt he was trying to Persianize the Greeks, they tried to kill him, and they, forced him to go into, I guess, some kind of a building, a sacred building where they couldn't get at him. So they starved him to death in that building. So again, I can tell you that these lifetimes are not easy. So you would think the guy that saved them from complete domination you could do no wrong, but that's not always the case. And now they made a statue. There was a statue that he created that had like these coiled serpents around it and so forth. That went to Constantinople. So who brought that there? Constantine. So that was a future life. So Constantine, and in this lifetime, I went to Istanbul, which is now, it was Constantine, but now it's Constantinople, but now it's Istanbul. I went there and I saw that statue. So imagine all those different lifetimes where I've seen that.
Oh,
All
oh.
those books, like the books I'm writing now,
Mhm.
maybe in the future, because I see books that I've written in the past, and that's why I'm an author again. That I made these connections and so forth. Uh, all kinds of different connections. Over time, you start to make those, and you start to piece together. Why you do what you do. Now, I'm pretty low key in this life, so you don't want to get too out there, because people will come after you and they'll shut you down. They tried to do that with me. CIA. We've talked about that. So you can get a little out there, because my abilities to connect and take down very bad people that probably the CIA actually want to keep going. They've tried to take me out several times, but I've gotten a little more knowledgeable over time, and I can uh, be smart about how I share information, and I know how to shuck and jive and avoid being taken out, because you do this lifetime after lifetime. It's like it's kind of like those movies where you see that Tom Cruise movie, where he's like, he's fighting and he gets killed and he comes back and he's at the
Yeah.
same spot again, and it's like he goes a little bit further,
Yeah.
and so it's today is Groundhog Day. You ever see that movie Groundhog Day?
Oh yeah.
So it's kind of the same thing. You just keep coming back until you get it right. Keep coming back until you get it right, and then he finally got it right. He got love for real, and then he carried on with life. And so that's kind of the way it is for us here. As you like, I'm the love vibration guy. Send out the love, be the love, and so forth. So I've gotten it right in this life. So it took me a little bit. I almost didn't get it, but I've gotten it in this life, and I'm sharing it. So I'm doing what God now, instead of being probably the ego, like I talked about earlier, where God, I'm a Navy SEAL and I do all this stuff. I'm like God's gift and blah blah blah, and you get too egoic and you're going to get slapped down. I got a lot of slapped down in my life, and the last one was where I had the Archangel Michael experience, and
Yeah.
from that point on, it just completely changed my life. And now I'm humble pie, and I let go and let God, and I'm the love vibration guy. Tell everybody, love is the most powerful force in the universe, and if you don't believe it, then let me muscle test you. I'll show you. You
Yep.
think of hate, and I'll show you how weak you are when you think that, and I'll show you how strong you are when with love. Even though I'm like manipulating your bioelectric field, uh, I can do it with my mind. I can do it physically. I'll do that, and you'll focus on love, and you'll be like ultra strong. You'll be the strongest you were, because I'll start everybody with the muscle test, and it's like, okay, you resist, put your arms out, resist. Okay, see how strong you are, and now we're going to show you. So then I show them all the different points that just like you saw in that when I did that course. The same, I do this. I did that, and I do that all the time, and it's very very insightful for people to learn that love is very very powerful. And then they're like, okay, love is very powerful, yeah. And it's like, okay, think about love and send love to so and so. Oh, I can't do that. I can't do that. So it takes time. It takes time to really get into the point where you understand love on a higher level consciousness type, where you're basically just sending out God's energy. It's not about you. It's not about anything of this world. It's God energy, and that's what the past lifetimes have brought me to. So, just a motivational thing for everybody that's still doubtful about past lifetimes. It's definitely something that will help you. I know my wife Tracy. She's like me. She's like, maybe I had one life, and then she went to the same psychic that I went to, Mary, and she just like, oh my God, blah blah blah. She was like all these lifetimes. So she opened up, and we've of course had many lifetimes together. The last life that we had together was when I was William Randolph Hearst, and she was
Civil War.
William Randolph Hearst partner. She was, let me think, Mary Davies. So Mary Davies wrote a book, and she had pictures in it. And I remember Tracy had that book. I don't know where it's at now, but she had that book, and there was a picture in there where the two of them were together, it looked exactly like us in that same time frame.
Holy.
It was crazy. So
I'll have that for our next show next month. That is cool. That is
yeah,
really cool.
crazy
Yeah.
stuff. So you and your partner Amy probably have, I would say, have probably had many lifetimes together, and you look at other people that are in your lifetime, this lifetime, and you'll start to see these patterns that you've had multiple lifetimes. Like my daughter, my son that unfortunately have passed away. All of them, have been with me in multiple lifetimes, and I've gone back and connected with them. Now my daughter, this was a very interesting one, where she, as a little girl, just had this obsession with the plague. She would go to the library and get all these books about the plague, and she'd talk about the plague all the time. And then when I was doing my past lives and connecting with kings and so forth, she was one of my daughters as a king of England, and I sent her, betrothed marriage. She was going to Spain to be, 13, 14-year-old, whatever,
Yep.
to be the wife of, the future king of Spain. And in the transit, the plague broke out, and the ship came into France. The plague had broke out. Everybody's like, in panic. There were two ships. She was with a bunch of archers and all kind of stuff. Was going to make a nice royal appearance and so forth. And she never made it, and she died. They tried to hide her into a small city, but eventually the plague, because she had memories. She says, I have memories of walking the street and wondering where my parents are. And I was like, wow, that seems really tragic, and there it was. So there was that lifetime. When I told her about that, she made the connection, and it was gone. So she didn't have to do the research anymore. It's like she made the connection, and it's doom. Okay, that's what that was. Oh, okay. I made the connection. Now I can let that go. So that's another reason for going into the past lifetime stuff. You may have blocks. I had many blocks that I overcame once I made the connections with these lifetimes. And I've talked about this many times. Richard III, where I was Richard III. Now, Richard III was made into history made him into a bad guy. Shakespeare, he had a play. Richard III, he was like really bad. Uh, uh, My kingdom for a horse, all these different things, because he was unhorsed in the battle. So the battle that basically where he died at, I made the connection eventually after many different things. So I resisted. Oh, he's a bad guy. I don't do bad guys. And I wasn't a bad guy. They made him out to be a bad guy. He's actually a good guy in history once you do the research. So the Scots, remember that one movie Braveheart, where they brought up the lances, and the knights were unhorsed from the lances. They did that at my battle. So that was the Scots. So the Scots were very good at that. And the French would use the Scots, because the Scots were like, we don't like the English. You don't like the English. Let's fight them. And so the Henry, who would be Henry the Seventh, came over, and the French were going to put him into power, and because then they could manipulate him, just kind of like what happens today. Biden put into power so they can manipulate him. So they did that with Henry the Seventh. So Henry the Seventh, some of my nobles basically went treasonous on me, and they were behind me. They're going to attack me, so I just charged. And this is what you do anytime you're in special forces. If you're in an ambush or you're about to be ambushed, you charge. You go right at them. That's because that's the only way you can survive. So I charged Henry the Seventh's battle group, and I almost got to him. I got within a sword swipe of him before I was taken down. And all of the different battle wounds that I got, there was like 8 of them. And when I made the connection, finally, I felt every one of those battle wounds. And I was like, okay, I was Richard III, because I was like, no, there's no way. And I kept getting all this information. I was like, I had to make the connection. And once I made the connection, I've talked about this. The next day, they found Richard III's body that had been lost for 500 years, buried in a like a monastery. So, in a parking lot of a monastery. So they do that. They cover that up, and then they make him into a bad guy so that Henry VII, who was not part of the royal family lineage, they could put him in there. And how did he become a royal? Because he married Richard III's brother's daughter. So there was a forced marriage, and then he can be king. So crazy stuff. So history is, for those of us that remember it, we can tell it and bring it out and work through the problems of that's why that stuff is suppressed, and bring it out so that people can have closure, kind of like my daughter. And when I did the Richard III thing, then they came out and it's like, oh, that was all fake what they said about him. He was a good king, and it just released so many different things. There was like a soccer team that was there, and I guess his old hometown, and they won for the first time ever. They were total underdogs, and so they won all of the English, the crown, and of the soccer team. So crazy stuff. When you make these connections, the stuff that gets revealed, and the stuff that comes through.
You're very crazy. I remember how I got into LBL, and then which got me to Dolores Cannon is I read the Journey of Souls book by Dr. Michael Newton. And Dr. Michael Newton, everybody knows, he ended up heading up the APA, the American Psychiatric Association. But he was one of the very first in the 70s to start doing hypnotherapy on patients. And what he wrote about and documented 3,500 plus cases, which led to his first book, is people would come to him with issues. So he would hypnotize them, and he found that they started talking about their death in another life or a massive injury they had, and much of that correlated with issues they had, physical issues or relationship issues they had then. And when they made that connection of where it was in the other life, that's what he actually started treating. They were better just like that. And this is published in the 70s or 80s. So I think this has been, it feels to me that it's been 100% suppressed for good reason, whether it's Constantinople. Thanks, Michael, for doing that for all of us, by the way, yanking reincarnation out of the Bibles. So you want to blame someone? Here he is, but it's not him anymore. It's not him anymore.
You just got to look for it. It's in there because they're asking Jesus, were you this, this person in a past lifetime? He says, no, that was John. John was that guy. So
no, it's truly remarkable. And then you mentioned at the beginning when we came on with everybody that you've spoken to other super soldiers, and because they knew their past lives, that's how they were selected into the super soldier program. What is that the correlation you're mentioning here as well?
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Here I am, a warrior, and I was samurai warrior, Chinese king warrior, all kind of crazy stuff. In multiple lifetimes, you would want to tap into that, right? So that's what they do. They tap into people that have had these warrior lifetimes, and they're easily trained to be the super soldiers that they are very often. Now, can I share the screen?
I think so. On StreamYard here.
Let me pull up this one thing on Pausanias.
Give it a shot,
and you'll see.
Cool.
Once we bring that up, this similarity.
Go for it.
You have to click it.
I have to click it. Excuse me.
Yeah, there we go. Okay. So here it is. This is Pausanias. This is the guy that was talking about that basically, saved Athens. So when I saw
striking features here.
I know when I saw this, I was like, Jesus, that's me. That's crazy. So these are statues. So you start to see that. You see paintings, you see these statues, and you're like, okay, I was that guy. So it totally makes sense now. So that's the amazing thing that you start to get with these past lifetimes. Now you talk about Michael Newton. bringing up his work.
Yep.
It was his work that basically got me to the point that you can have multiple simultaneous lives.
Yep.
And that's another reason why they chose me for the secret space program. So I'm having multiple secret space program lives simultaneously to this one, undersea, inner world, outer space. I got 3 different ones going on right now that I have connection with. And that's because they tapped into, on a willing level, they tapped into my soul, consciousness. So when you reach a certain level, you can split your energy and have different lifetimes to develop yourself even faster. It's like the ultimate in multitasking. So so he talked about that in his book, because I was like, I really have a connection with this guy, but he lived during this guy's time, and I was under the impression that you could only have one life, and so there's no way I could have been that guy, because he was alive at the same time. And then when I read his book, I was like, and then I had the connection with Kevin Ryerson. He told me, oh yeah, this woman. He took me to an even deeper level with my connections in past lifetimes. So you get first of all, you get the feelings, kind of like I talked about with me. I feel like I know Jesus on a different level, and like my daughter, having this fascination with the plague time frame in a certain period time frame, and and then you go to a psychic, and a psychic's like, oh yeah, you did this in a lifetime, and you did that in a lifetime, and this is who you were, and blah blah blah. Most of the people that I went to that were psychics, no one ever told me who I was. They didn't tell me, oh, you were Pausanias. They would just say that you were in this time frame, and then I would go do the research, and then I would see the pattern in my lives, and I would see, oh, that's very similar. Now this is what I would recommend, and I talk about this in my book. How to do your own research on past lifetimes, how to make connections. But one of the ways is if you're very attracted to a certain area. Now I've gone to I went to Monticello, Thomas Jefferson's Monticello, and I was with my kids at the time. I was like, this room's going to be like this, and this room's going to be like this. And so I was like, so it's like having all these memories starting to pour through.
Boy.
And then we went out back, and they were showing us where he had a garden. And I asked the person that was doing the, leading the us through the house and everything. I was like, did there used to be like, because I told my kids this, and I said, did there used to be like these giant oak trees back here? And she looked at me and she's like, yes, there actually was. And about 50 to 100 years ago, they had to cut them all down because they got some kind of blight, and so they cut them all down. So I was like, yeah, I've been there.
Yeah.
I knew them. And so you start to make those connections. And then I found out the life I was, and all these different things. And it's fascinating, to make the connections. And to, like I said, you're not always a king or queen. I've been a slave. I have memories of being a slave, and not having a great life, but I did it in Charleston, and I loved Charleston, and
Wow.
I was a slave owner, and I did really cool with my slaves. I gave them freedom, and that's what Thomas Jefferson was doing that. Of course, he was having relations with Sally Hemings, who was a slave from France, and or a black woman from France. I don't know if she was a slave there, but anyway, in America, you could be executed for that. So they kept it secret, of course. But the DNA and everything leads back to him having children with Sally Hemings. And I don't know why they still keep that quiet. The Hemings family doesn't keep it quiet. They talk about it, but I guess the estate of Thomas Jefferson They want to keep it quiet. So, that's what we're seeing. The truth will come out to a certain extent, but it still gets suppressed. And I have memories of being a black man in many lives, and I have a little bit of DNA. I have black DNA in me this lifetime, so it makes sense. But I have memories of being a Tuskegee Airman, and then it took me years upon years upon years, and I finally found that person, and all the things that I remembered, that was him. And I remember my son was about his age at the time, and he looked just like him, because there was one photo that was taken where they were just before they went off on that group's last mission.
Yeah.
And I believe that we were going in to blow up a lot of the factories that were allowing them to make the atomic bomb. And that's been kept secretive all the way to this day. So again, there's some things that you can say, and they're not gonna, no, we can't admit that, or they're not gonna say that. Of course, it's like, no, there's none of that. So, but there's suppression throughout time, and imagine if the suppression would go away and we could really learn what the past was really like.
Yeah.
That's another reason why I love to do shows like this, is to bring up this information.
Mm-hmm.
And
The Cabbage Patch, Orphan Train, and World's Fair, and free energy and stuff like that. They don't want to.
Like Tesla. And who seems like Tesla? There's been people that said he was, and so I don't know if he's going to admit that or if he even connects with that. But David Schmidt, man, he's got Tesla all over him.
Yeah, for sure. So we probably got 10, 15 minutes here. How are we doing for time on your side?
That'll be good.
Yeah. I think that it's quite fascinating. So then that makes sense on the selection program. We've had many shows talking about, from the super soldier, to the battles, and then the regrowing of limbs and med beds, which again are still myth here on Earth, but believing that they're absolutely there. You believe it, I believe it. And from some of the experiences you've definitely had in this lifetime, and I've had last summer on that phone call I've talked about, it's wild. It's just wild. Now we were talking earlier about LifeWave, everybody, and why it's really key from your standpoint. And thank you to you and Tracy Joe and the team for sharing them with me, because it was about a year for me watching you do those shows. And it was the gift that you all sent to me, the patches. I'm like, yeah, okay, I guess I'll try it, because I have this extreme discomfort going on, right? That Tiger Wood and Lindsey Vaughn's orthopedic surgeon in Vail, Colorado could not handle for me. And I couldn't get it remedied unless I took Oxycontin, which I wasn't going to do. And I had an incredible healing miracle, my own story. And now we see William Shatner from Star Trek talking about this. So we've got like past lives, super soldiers, Star Trek, and William Shatner. What is your personal draw to the company with LifeWave overall, outside of you and I being in business together as brand partners? What's the draw for you? Because you talked about earlier, you gave it over to God source since the Archangel Michael experience, right? Here to help humanity. Would you mind sharing that with everybody, Michael?
Yeah, the Archangel Michael story.
Well, your draw for LifeWave and what we're sharing here, and how it aligns with in your belief, and how it aligns with your mission.
Yeah. So, for me, energetics is extremely important. Obviously, you energetically connect with past lifetimes. And that's what happened with me when I was doing remote viewing. I was like, well, why don't I just remote view into my past lifetimes? Concept. And that's what I did. So it's an energetic type thing that you're tapping into. And that's what the LifeWave patches are. They're energetic frequencies, that have basically been shared with us from God. God does a lot of good things for us. And, sometimes we're stubborn. A lot of times I think we're stubborn. But those of us that have been open to it have gotten unbelievably amazing results. So it also, I believe, helps. And we've had many people. I have someone that's in my group that's done exceptionally well because she used the Aeon patch, which cleared up her her mental fog from, abuse and so forth, in this life,
Yep.
and probably has dealt with some stuff in past lifetimes, but she was able to overcome it with, LifeWave patches. And she's super functional now and does amazing things. She's a great leader in LifeWave now, has a thriving business. So it's something that I think, on many different levels, that has been shared with us. Now, I think that, we kind of like talk about the med beds and, Star Trek and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I've got the video, man.
There is, I believe, at some point going to be something like that with LifeWave, because David Schmidt definitely has that type of mentality and so forth. I've met him. Tracy and I, converse with him occasionally. Some pretty deep subjects, and he's completely open to them. So I think that he is, whether he's the direct reincarnation of Tesla or he's tapping into it. But he is definitely on the level of a Tesla. And so whatever Tesla tapped into, David Schmidt is tapping into. So we have someone that's giving us, and think about it, Tesla's information was stolen from us because it was given to him to give to us, and he was freely trying to share it. Free energy and so forth. And they stopped him out and, made him destitute and then stole his information at the end. President Trump's uncle got that information. So I think that's a good thing. I think at some point that stuff's going to come out, but, David Schmidt is tapping into it. Absolutely tapping into it. So that's the power and the beauty of the LifeWave experience. And that's why I'm drawn to it.
Well, and thank you for sharing that. It, as a Reiki was the one. I was gifted a Reiki session like you guys gifted me the patches back in 2001. And that blew my mind, what happened in the Reiki session that was given to me. I thought the girl who was giving it to me, I thought her hands were on my stomach. There was a lot of heat coming off the hands. I had my eyes closed. She's describing stuff she said, I see you as a young boy wearing this gray jacket with a red stripe across the back and a dark navy patch, and you're throwing a ball up in the air, but it's a clearing in these trees and it's by water. I'm like, you're describing our cottage exactly. And that's a jacket. And I was 6 years old. So I opened my eyes and thinking in that state that she's right there. She's on the other side of the room.
Wow.
And she's got her eyes closed. I'm like, okay, there's something more to this because I'm feeling warm hands on my stomach. And she's telling me this, like this drifting away voice. And she's on the other side of the room. So from energy and frequency and let frequency be thy medicine of the future, as Einstein said. I love the fact as well, since this happened to me, the healing miracle. So these are Star Trek. Like I remember Dr. Beverly Crusher or Bones in the original series going, and then the broken bone is fixed and off, you go. Geordie LaForge and Star Trek Next Generation. It stuck with me until I learned from David that his nickname was Spock in college, and he's a full-on Trekkie. And William Shatner is like a hero for him as Captain Kirk. And I want to share the video here of the headquarters because, as Michael and I have shared on many shows, and we've said, you and I believe that this is the company that's going to lead the world in the next evolution. And I appreciate you sharing that you believe or stated LifeWave could be the company and probably is going to be the company that brings out medbeds. And well, why do you think so, folks, that this could be true? Well, here is William Shatner in our funny as freaking all get out commercial at headquarters, designed by Doug Drexler, who did all the Star Trek sets, did all of the Star Trek spaceships, whether they're Klingons and Galactic Federation, since its inception with Gene Roddenberry. He designed the new headquarters. So here it is. And then Michael, I'll come back right after this. We're going to be hanging out because we have good laughs at this.
I've lived a long life. I've done a lot of things, but I've never been an intern.
I'm the founder, sure, but I'm also an inventor. My latest experiment? Hire William Shatner, but as an intern. No way I can afford that guy full time.
Hi, I'm Alicia. I'm going to be your trainer for today.
Hi, Alicia.
William Shatner?
Yeah, well, you can call me Bill. Or Inter. Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's just fine. Today I'm going to be taking you on a tour of our Welcome Center.
I hear they have something like a captain's bridge in the Welcome Center. Feels like you're traveling through space.
I have an award-winning production designer
This I gotta see.
for decades. And hey, Bill.
No, please, no sci-fi today. I'm just here as an intern, that's it. I just beamed in. Yeah, I know that look. I get that look whenever I sneak around, and you're sneaking. Go away. I'm busy. Jackpot. You didn't see a thing. People gotta see this.
Bill! Who let you in here?
He let me in here.
Bill? Captain?
Oh, you gotta get out here. The old intern who looks an awful lot like me, he's messing things up.
But wait, aren't you?
Yeah, it's a sci-fi thing. Come on.
Oh, excuse me. David, was that? Is that in budget? There you are. Come on. Back to the group.
People gotta see this.
I know. It's a part of the tour.
Oh.
Yeah.
Are you ready for me? Doug. Bill? Doug. Bill. Doug. Bill. For goodness.
Do you know Doug?
Do I know Doug? Star Trek designer on props and sets and the spaceships and this?
Came out beautifully, huh?
Oh, Doug is...
Hey, Bill.
Oh,
One of your clones said you're causing trouble.
you're taking the word of a clone?
Personally, I always go with the original.
That's a good idea.
I have a question. Are you really going to be an intern here?
But, yeah, why not? But first, I gotta tell you about the Welcome Center here at the LifeWave offices.
Okay, this is a commercial. Got it.
No. It's a kind of soft sell. No, just a simple suggestion, really. Copy this QR code to learn about LifeWave, its products, and their amazing Welcome Center, and that's it. I had a great time experiencing their amazing life-changing technology and learning about the opportunities surrounding one of the fastest-growing companies on the planet, and you will too. So check them out, and just tell them Bill sent you, the real Bill, not that sci-fi clone. Oh, okay. Hey, duty calls. Back to interning. Bye-bye.
So when you have a corporate headquarters with Captain Kirk there showing him and an actual hologram machine, which are real right now, everybody, real deal. Michael's been to the headquarters here several times. We have free energy technology, which can power your homes and your cars coming out. There's a product roadmap of 20 years. And then you have right here, Biotech's Breakthrough Award 2025 Stem Cell Innovation of the Year winner for X39. And here is what we can tell you because it's a general wellness patch, right? This is directly from David Schmidt in the press release. We're thrilled to accept the Stem Cell Innovation of the Year award from Biotech Breakthrough for our products. This comes after a 10-year journey into stem cell research and a $4.3 million investment, resulting in over 70 patents for our company in the field of regenerative science. Our phototherapy patches are uniquely designed to stimulate the body with low levels of light that support biochemical mechanisms which promote recovery and a general state of wellness. And so, of course, because it's a general wellness patch in the FDA, National Advertising Guidelines can't tell you that it can do other things, but I just want to leave it here with this testimonial and then turn it over to Mike for final comments. This is from a show last week that I did, which was placed in here by an incredible, well, I guess they're a customer of ours, and Michael and I are all in the same team together, so we support each other. But I just want to read this out to you right now. This has to do with the X39 patches and then also the pain patches known as the ice wave as well. So this is from skiing. I think everybody is kind of skiing right now. And it's from Tony Lewis Clark. I've been following you for a long time. I've been curious about LifeWave. When mom fell and hurt her tailbone, I chose to get the pain patches to her. While I was at it, I got X39, X49. Little did I know my husband was going to fall and break his collarbone skiing. While he was in the ski patrol shack getting evaluated, I ran to the van, got the patches. 18 days later, surgery is needed with plate and pins. He is healing so quickly. His doctors and physical therapists are amazed. We are very thankful. I found this to be interesting as well. My husband had no idea how these patches work. When he woke that first morning after wearing the patches, he said, I was having the strangest dreams last night. I kept getting a surge of energy where I hurt myself. Plus, he saw these flashes of light. It made me smile. Patches working just as you said. This was posted 6 days ago below one of our Rumble shows, Michael. How about that?
It's amazing. And that's the way the patch is. I got instant results. I held it and knew it had incredible energy. And I was like, I gotta try them all. And just like we saw in that video, it's kind of like hinting at the, you can travel through time and, space, and there's no difference between the future and the past if you know how to like move your consciousness on that field of energy. Mm-hmm. So that's what I believe we're getting with LifeWave. So like we talk about, a lot of people have gotten a lot of results, physically, mentally, psychologically. Everything keeps coming. I kind of joke around. It's like the only thing we haven't done yet is like Jesus did, is put the patch on somebody that has already passed away and they come back. So
yeah.
And who knows, maybe at some point that's going to happen. But, I think that, like I talk about in the Secret Space program, that is a possibility. And if anybody's going to bring that to the forefront, that's going to be David Schmidt.
Definitely. That's exactly where it's going. And it's all culminating here. So, and we invite all of you, by the way, to try X39 as well. That's this one I showed right in the very beginning. This is like Lord of the Rings, the one ring to rule them all. This is the one that won the Stem Cell Innovation of the Year award. And think of it tongue in cheek this way. Big pharma, biotech firms spent tens of millions to hundreds of millions of dollars. And this little thing that is a sticker the size of a quarter, then has a few hairs, non-invasive, acts like a little satellite dish, puts the energy back in your body at a frequency which activates your copper peptides. There are people like wearing copper bracelets, and what happens that? Imagine when it activates that. It has a stem cell reaction that activates everything else. So links are right below the screen. You can see the videos, the case studies, liveyounger.com/Buddha, or you can order directly on the promo. 30% off, 100% money back guarantee. And Michael and I and our massive team are here to support you Monday to Friday with Zooms, emails, customer service, and also help you get involved if you want to share the light as a business partner of ours. Then we're all in business together to make the world successful with this company, which I believe is going to lead us into returning to the Star Trek civilization, which we all are. It's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. Michael, thank you so much for your time. Any final comments to everybody as we close off here now, my friend?
Well, Brad, I think you're you're a great representative for LifeWave. I enjoy doing these shows because we go deep down, the consciousness roads and, bring a lot of information forward to people. But the LifeWave products are definitely on that same level. And I think that, getting involved with them will help you to supercharge your life in multiple dimensional levels. And that's what I've experienced and many other people have experienced as well.
Yeah, same here as well. All right, everybody. God bless. Have yourself a great one. And be sure to share this show as well and jump on it with this guarantee. And Michael and I are here for you, and so is the team. Thanks, mate. Thank you, Tracy Joe, in the background. I know you can hear us. We'll see you all next time. Bye. Thanks for joining us on the program, ladies and gentlemen. Please like, follow, subscribe, share this with 9 friends and family. And of course, if you enjoy our blinged Buddha firing red pills from his 9mm, let us know.